What's up, Zingers? Welcome back to another episode of Futures Fever. I'm your host, Kevin Dubriske with Benzinga, and do I have a great episode for us? We're going to go over some market analysis, what is Apex Trader funding and how you can benefit from it, and so much more. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Futures Fever, where we dive deep into the world of futures trading and uncover opportunities no matter the market conditions, because volatility is simply an opportunity to find profitable trades. So don't sit back and relax, but sit up and engage as Futures Fever, powered by Apex Trader Funding, starts right now.
Woo, love that intro. How cool is that? Guys, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well. We do Futures Fever every Wednesday at 11:30 to 12:30 for an hour. We cover some futures markets. Normally, we have Peter Tuchman and David Green with us. We haven't had them for the past few episodes. This show will also be hosted primarily by me. We're going to go over what is Apex Trader Funding, how you guys could benefit from it. We're also going to go over some futures markets. I wanted to show you guys a great trade review that I took this morning on gold. It's a huge trade. What's going on, Ozzy? Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon almost. It's almost lunchtime, so markets are starting to slow down here. So let's get into it, guys. What is on today's agenda, how Apex Trader Funding works, some live market insights and trade setups, and of course, we're giving away a free Apex Trader evaluation account. Guys, make sure you fill out that form in the comments below for a chance to win a free Apex Trader evaluation account. And stick around, I'll be announcing last week's winner very shortly. So why trade with Apex Trader Funding? Hey, there we go, Honey Badger, first to like it. You guys better be quick to follow that up. Apex Trader Funding gives traders access to funded accounts, and it removes the need to risk your own personal capital. So guys, before prop firms were really big, and I would say that was probably in the past 2 to 4 years, prop firms have really came out to help these new traders. You needed a lot of capital if you wanted to start trading futures. I'm talking 25,000, right? That PDT rule. And with prop firms, we really don't need that anymore. We're able to buy an evaluation account normally at a sale. Right now, Apex is running an 80% off sale if you use discount code FFEVER for Futures Fever. What's going on, Fairchild? Good morning and hello. But use discount code FFEVER, 80% off your evaluation account. That brings a basic $50K down to about $30 for an evaluation. Once you pass the eval, you pay the one-time lifetime fee or a monthly fee for your funded account. That's your performance account. And then you're able to take withdrawals and payouts from there as long as you prove consistency. You get access to firm capital to trade the futures markets. You are not trading options. You're not trading stocks. We're primarily trading futures. And you earn up to 90% of profits, and that's 100% of the first 25K. Do apologize, it says 20K here, but it's actually the first 25,000 you make with Apex. You get to keep the whole thing. And zero personal liability. Guys, trade stress-free. How great is that? Trading is usually and can be, when learning, a very stressful thing. Do I enter my trade now? Do I size in heavier? Do I want to go in larger? Do I want to go in smaller? How do I trade my risk on this? When you use a prop firm, it gives you the layout and the structure required and needed to really see consistency and success. So it's a 3-step process. The first step is pass the evaluation. You want to show consistency and proper risk management. They have rules around consistency and risk management, and these rules are the ones that will keep you in the game in the long run, right? The 30% rule, the 50% rule. These are all rules that some people complain about, but these are the people that are complaining that aren't consistent yet, right? Now, we don't want to listen to those people. We want to listen to consistent traders, people who are where you want to be in your trading journey. Step 2 is you get funded. So you pass your evaluation account, you get on a funded account. Now you're back at square one on that. You're on 50K, brings it right back down to 50K even, and then you're able to continue from there. Step 3 is withdraw profits once you hit a certain price level. And guys, if you want, drop a like, let me know in the comments. I could cover some slides showing exactly how much profit you need in each account to take your payouts, minimum payouts, maximum payouts, and each account size. We'll cover that later, as long as you guys drop a like and make sure you comment that you want to see some information like that. And what's great with Apex too is there's no long-term contracts. So it's not like you have to buy Apex, you have an evaluation account, and you need to trade with them for 3 months, or you need to trade with them for a month, or even you need to trade with them 5 days in a row. You could be have a trade here and there. You could take a day off here and there. As long as you're consistently following the 30% rule and other rules to keep you in line of your profit and your risk, you're going to see consistency, and Apex is going to give you your payouts no problem. Now, here's some account sizes and the 30% rule. The 30% rule is extremely important when it comes to Apex, and we'll just sort of brief through this real quick. And then I have on the next slide how much you should be risking per trade per account size for just a few of these accounts, for example. So on a 25K account, 30% risk. Now, when you open a new account, you can't, you're opening a new account. There's no profit to base that 30% risk off of. So it takes your risk off of your trail stop. That's why whenever I'm coaching or mentoring somebody, I tell them when you're trading a prop firm, you're not trading the 50K. You're trading your trail stop. You're trading 2,500. You're trading 3,000. Whatever your trail stop is, that's what you're really trading. So for a 25K account with a trail stop of 1,500, your 30% risk on that is $450. Guys, if you're trading a small trading account at $1,500, you open a fresh account, $1,500 each, you're not going to be risking $450 per trade. Guys, I see people talking about oil in the comments. I'm letting you guys know right now, oil has been phenomenal. We'll be covering that soon. Oil and gold, we're doing crazy good today, and we'll be covering that and show you guys how to make some profits with those commodities. 50K account, you have a $2,500 trail stop. 30% of that is $750. Again, if you're trading an account, your own personal capital, and you're opening an account with $2,500, you're not risking $750 per trade. That is way too aggressive of a trade and too heavy of size. You're going to blow your account very fast. You're going to feel very emotional during that time, and it's not going to go well. And so on for the other accounts too. The 100K is $900. That's max risk of $3,000. And so on and so on. So now, guys, tips for each account size. I cover 4 main accounts here. The first one's the 25K account. And the 25K account, we mentioned the trail stop is only $1,500. So you're trading a $1,500 account. Trail stop being $1,500. We don't want to trade a 2% rule on a 25K account. So what do? We want to look for a real risk. We want to look for something reasonable. So my real risk on a 25K account would be if my trail stop's 1,500, I can be a little aggressive because it's not my main capital. I don't really lose this 1,500. It's an evaluation account. I want to get to the funded phase, but I don't want to blow my account in just 3 or 4 wrong trades. What can I do? Well, we could look at our trail stop and look at it from a 10th, right? So if we risk just a 10th of our trail stop, that will help sort of keep us in line and find good risk to reward setup. And something I noticed too, guys, is once we get higher in accounts, you'll see it's going to take way more trades on the higher accounts to pass it. So here on the 50K account, our goal is 3,000. Our trail stop is 2,500. So you get a whole extra $1,000 of cushion versus the 25K account. Yeah, man, gold's been doing good today, guys. 2% of 50K. Now, guys, the reason I'm referencing 2% is because as investors and as traders, we like to use the 2% rule. Never risk more than 2% of your account or portfolio on one trade. Well, when we're trading a 50K prop firm account, we can't risk 2% of 50K, or we're risking $1,000 per trade. We would be done in just 3 wrong trades. That is not how we want to trade. That is bad risk management. So the trail stop, James, the trail stops are calculated by Apex. So if you guys want, once I'm done with these slides, we'll head over to the Apex Trader Funding website, and I'll show you guys each account size and how they work. So real trail stop. So the real risk per trade, guys, that I'd usually recommend on a 50K account would be no more than $250. And again, the reason for that is because we're looking for 2-to-1 risk to reward. So we want to make sure that we're not oversizing. And with 2-to-1, we could also lose maybe 2 trades, win 2 trades, and be in the green, even though we have a 50% win rate. And that's what's great with having good risk to reward. Get inside badge. Everybody could hear me all right? Everything's okay? Thought I saw Zach mention something about a tech issue. You guys let me know if everything's streaming all right. Hit that like button if you see everything's going smooth. 150K account, our goal is 9,000. Trail stop is 5,000. So guys, something to mention here. Look at the difference in our trail stops on our 50K and our 150K account. Our goal on our 50K is 3,000 and trail stop is 2,500. Now our goal on the 150K is 9,000. So it triples our profit target and it only doubles our trail stop. So now our trail stop is a lot tighter in comparison to where our goal is. Awesome. You guys can hear me all right? Beautiful, beautiful. 250K account. Now, this is where things get a little aggressive, right? Now, this is why I usually mention to people that if you are getting started with a prop firm, I definitely would not recommend getting started on some of these higher accounts. 250K, these are very unreasonable. And what happens with that is you try to over leverage. You think you have all of this buying capital, you blow the account, you get another one, and you're in this endless cycle. Guys, get a 50K account. Take it slow, risk no more than 250, 200 per trade, and take it slow. Make 400, 500 per trade, 750 per trade. A lot of my trades and the setup I'm going to show you guys later is going to be a gold trade that I took for a 4-to-1 risk to reward. It's risking 250 to make 1,000. This is how we have good setups, consistent rewards, and we're able to trade without having any emotional attachment. And as traders and investors, that's key to seeing long-term success. Guys, they are running a major sale on Apex Trader Funding, 80% off. Use promo code FFever. Again, for some reason, I don't know why it says ends April 30th. Clearly, we're a little past that. $50 resets. I will get, though, the end of our... Let's see. The last day of the sale is June 24th. So June 24th is the last day of the sale. $50 resets and lifetime PA fees are $130 for 25K accounts, and all other sizes, it's $140. So we got some really great sales going. Guys, if you're getting a 50K account with the 80% off and you're paying, say, around $30 for an eval, and let's say you stayed consistent and you followed through and you passed it on your first try, 30 on the eval, 140 on the funded, you're spending about 170 of your own personal capital to be able to withdraw up to thousands of dollars in profits. Risk to reward wise, that is huge. The 250K and 300K evaluation accounts are now priced down to $399. With 80% off, that brings it down to just $79.80. Guys, Apex has paid out over $509 million since 2022. It's $509 million. That is absurd amount of money. They are very strong. They're probably one of the top performing prop firms out there, as they will continue to be going forward. They're definitely a great place to start. You could trade up to 20 accounts with them. There's so much to go on about them. Don't forget, guys, while we're going on about Apex, win a free Apex evaluation account. If you don't have an account with them already, or you're looking to add a new eval to your arsenal, you get to win a free Apex Trader evaluation account. The link's going to be in the comments below. Make sure you fill that form out. Last week's winner was Diego. Congratulations, Diego, on the free Apex Trader evaluation account. When you win the account, guys, you'll get an email. So let's say you sign up today's Wednesday. You'll get an email on Friday saying congratulations. You get a discount code, and with that code, you're able to put it into any evaluation account size of your choosing. And join us live every Wednesday. So, guys, Futures Fever is every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We go over some futures. We go over what's Apex Trader Funding. And that wraps it up for our slide. So I want to show you guys a quick trade review. That's nice that it signs me out right when I'm exiting. It's good of it to be patient. So let's take a look. Thank you. Bring our map back up. Let's take a look real quick at our gold right here. So this is the setup I took on gold. I ended up taking profit a little earlier. I do think I ended up taking it for a 3-to-1 over here. And then I re-entered on a pullback. But I wanted to show you guys how I took this trade and why I took this trade. Because the how and why is what should keep us in the market in the long run, right? Now, my original trade, my thought process on this, right, was I was coming into the market. Every morning I do my pre-market analysis. It's what I call my pre-market prep. 8:30 I get on with my community at bullishbears.com. You guys could feel free to join. We go live Monday through Friday. And I do my pre-market prep from 8:30 to about 9:30. Then we live trade from 9:30 to 11. With that being said, because gold and oil don't necessarily need that New York session volume to have volatility and movement, I was looking to see, hey, guess what? We just had our CPI this morning, and we had a very strong positive move to the upside. But I also noticed ES and NQ also gave us strong moves to the upside. Now, with that being said, we had a strong impulse move. we moved near a supply zone. Now, this is a 2-hour supply zone, and I'll show you guys the 2-hour time frame to show you where and how I found this zone. So here's the where. We have our 2-hour basing candle near an area that we consolidated. Then we have our strong impulse move lower. So that tells me this area, before we moved lower, a lot of sellers were starting to present and accumulate in this range. So once we pushed lower with strength, that left a lot of unfilled orders, leaving a supply zone for me to take shorts. And because it's a 2-hour time frame, that's a lot more strength than, say, a 15 or 30 minute. So we came back to the 5-minute candle. I saw we had our news. And on the next candle we had, I'm going to play that forward for you. I was able to take shorts right at my supply entry, right at 33.80, which sounds like I top ticked gold, which sort of is the case here, right? When I use my supply and demand, this is a trading strategy that helps me find the highs and lows of ranges and of trends. So once I saw that gold was rejecting this high up here, and we're going to use Bookmap right here for order flow, this is now at 834 right here. So I was looking for shorts near that 33.80. So right here's our 835 candle when we pushed into that 33.80. And we see on Bookmap, this shows us passive sell orders sitting at 33.80 and 33.81, about 33.80.8. So once I saw Bookmap start to move, and we have it on fast forward, we have it on replay. We're going to let it play out for a moment. I'm going to slow it down. Every time we try to get this up here, this is considered an ask, right? There's a passive seller up here. That's a passive seller in supply. That's a huge green flag for my short position. So once I saw the first initial reaction, that's what gave me some confidence to potentially look for a short. Once we retested that 33.80 is when I took my entry. So right on that 33.80 retest right, somewhere around here. I do apologize because of the fast forward. I'm not 100% sure on which retest it was. But once we reclaimed this area and we hit that ask again and started to get a rejection, so once we broke this ask and volume failed to continue higher, which is immediately after, ready? We ended up getting a big rejection. Buyers tried to hold, but each time buyers hold, an aggressive seller. Now with the Bookmap, guys, we're able to see the red levels back here. This is our heat map. So this shows us passive buyers and passive sellers. If price is right here and we have a level above us, this is a passive seller. If we have a price level below us, that's a passive buyer. So I was trying to sell with these passive sellers in the supply zone. So I see, okay, every time buyers try to step in, volume is very low, we end up failing. I'm in my short position, stop loss at the high we just made, using Bookmap for that stop loss, using my what's it called? My Bookmap, and using my supply zone as well for my entry. I was able to recognize that buying volume was a lot smaller and weaker than the selling volume. I was able to take this short with confidence. I was even able to add to this short because it was able to consolidate a little bit near that 33.80 level for me. And then we were able to see a lot of strong follow through. And once we started getting that follow through, I think this was my re-entry. We ended up getting follow through. Let's see. So here's 33.40. There it is. So on that next candle we got, I'll show you guys. The next candle we got was a red candle to the downside, bringing us towards 75. So at this point, my first take profit was at 33.75. This was the next area of interest where there are passive buyers or passive sellers. I saw there were passive buyers down here at 75. So my first take profit I wanted was that 75. So that's where I got out of my first contracts. Remember, guys, I added to my position. So I was in 2 contracts. I scalped out of one. And on the next candle that opened is when I got out of the next. Now, I really like using Bookmap along with my technical analysis because my Bookmap will tell me if my volume and price analysis is lining up correctly. If I'm getting a supply zone rejection, then I should be getting some strong ask and selling pressure. If I see that buyers are stepping in or we don't have any passive ask up here, which again is passive sellers, then I probably would have stayed away from these shorts. But because we had a strong impulse move, which initially gave us an imbalance as well, we're rejecting a supply zone. We're at the highs of the current range. We're better off trying to trade that range back to the lows again. So this was a great trade setup that I took here on gold. I ended up re-entering around 72 once we re-entered 72. And I'll show you guys, we'll let it play out for just one moment here because we see that 75 was a pretty strong area. And again, I do apologize. I don't have the exact entries on me right now. Was not expecting to go through the specifics of the trades, but we see that the follow through was very strong. We see sellers remain strong on gold, and that's how I was able to capitalize on this down move. Now, had I held a little bit longer, I would have been able to really capitalize on a much stronger move to my next area of support. Now, trading supply and demand, we want to trade from our support to our resistance, from our resistance to our support. So let's take a quick look. I know people also mentioned oil. Now I want to cover oil too, because this also gave us a phenomenal setup. Now gold gave us a great short setup. Oil ended up giving us a good long setup. Now that doesn't mean they inverse each other. Guys, I want to be so crystal clear about that. Gold and oil do not inverse each other. They're two completely separate markets. So what happens, one could trend, the other might not be trending. Maybe both are trending. It always depends. And that's why I like watching multiple markets. Crude oil, GC, which is gold, ES, NQ. The ES and NQ, that's my New York markets, my New York session. I like trading those when the New York session is open. We have good volatility. We're able to trade some volume. Gold, oil, I'm okay with trading those around 8:30 and further, right? I don't really trade before that, trade during my pre-market prep. So that was our trade on gold. The setup I was looking for on oil this morning, I'll put the replay system up. And we'll go select bar. And again, we're going to bring us to our 8:30 candle, because that's when I start my pre-market preps, is at 8:30. So here's our 8:30, was right over here. So we sort of play out. We move away from this range on the 30-minute time frame. I see we created our order block. Now, what I also noticed was we created a 30-minute order block right here, and we had our impulse move, then we had our retest, and we held it. So that already gives me one sign that we're holding order blocks on crude oil right here. So that made me want to go long in this area, this blue range, between 66.15 and 65.87. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to take a trade as soon as we hit it and put my stop loss right at the bottom, because that's not even a 2-to-1 risk to reward right there. You can maybe look to target the next key level, but again, now I'm sort of stretching it. Now we're getting a little bit of a harder trade, and we have to be careful with it. So what I would do then is, now that I found my zone on a 30-minute time frame, I'd come to something like the 15-minute or the 5-minute, and I would wait to see us retrace into that zone and see how price reacts once we enter it. So we saw that we entered it right here. And a lot of times what I'll do is I will use some type of candle close on the 5-minute to confirm or give me my entry. So unless I was using Bookmap, which Bookmap would also give me an idea. So here's around 9:30, 9:35 is when oil decided to reverse. We'll fast forward on Bookmap. We'll bring it to our 9:30 that we're looking at. And we'll see how price reacted once we got into this zone down here, right? Now, this is where we had passive buyers. So we could play this out and see how is our volume. We have time and sales over here. Really great tools. Guys, when you're trading, you should be using and utilizing order flow tools. They are extremely, extremely important. So here we're getting our move into that 66.01 was our low. So here's our low that was made. And as soon as we made that low, check this out. We had an active passive buyer. So we had a bid sitting here at 66 even. Now 66, guys, that is a key psychological level. Any price level that ends in a 00, a 25, a 50, these are key psychological levels. 66, 67, 68, 69, 66.50, 66.75. These are all key psychological levels, especially the whole numbers. So once we came down into that 66 even, we bounced off of it. And once we started moving away from it, an even heavier bid stepped in, which means there's even more support under us. This would have been another great sign to possibly take these longs once we were to exit out of this zone. Now, when we use Bookmap and our zones, we're able to find really good entries because it usually gives us an idea of where that relief or that bottom was. So we would be able to take that long once we saw this 5-minute was starting to close green out of this zone, stop loss below or near that recent 5-minute low that we just created. And again, look to target maybe new high of day, or maybe target that next key level we have. Even new high of day, guys, before we were struggling to get a 2-to-1 risk to reward. Now new high of day is at least a 2.4. This key level, almost a 4-to-1. Regardless, this is a great trade setup. This is something I would take 10 out of 10 times. And something else to mention is that we were above our previous day high. This is crude oil. Crude oil has been continuously breaking previous day highs, and for the most part, closing green. I believe we had trouble yesterday. Let's see. Yep, yesterday we ended up breaking that previous day high and we closed red. But today, look at this, guys. Broke previous day high. We held it, created some support right at that key level, and ended up pushing even higher from there. And look, check this out. Now we had our liquidity sweep. This would have been a trade entry number 2. And this is why I like to target only new high days when it comes to trades and ranges. This first trade right here, had we taken it, right? If we wanted to target that key level, it would have whiffed us about 6 cents from that TP. But if we had our take profit right at new high a day, that would have been no problem. That trade would have hit and that would have been okay. Now what happened, guys, we get a wider range. We reject up here, but we didn't just reject up there. We still made new high a day. So we are still bullish, We pull back. This is sell-side liquidity now. This is internal sell-side liquidity. What do I mean by internal sell-side liquidity? Well, ISSL, this would basically be a lower time frame. That's why it's called internal, because it's inside the higher time frame. And it's areas where there's going to be a lot of sellers or there's a lot of stop losses, right? So at new lows, at pivot lows, there's a lot of traders that are anticipating a breakdown. So they're going to try to sell it. And there's also a lot of traders who were in these long positions that have their stop loss right there that are now getting stopped out of this trade. And when that occurs, that's usually the best time to look for those reversals. And that trade did end up continuing higher, giving us that key level and breaking. So this looks pretty good. This is, in fact, creating a 15-minute demand zone now here on oil. And we're going to mark that out with our rectangle tool. This is now green, our demand zone. And we're going to mark that out with our 15, D15. And now tomorrow, or let's say even today later, if we re-enter this area, I could come over to it. I could click my tool, add an alert. I'm on replay mode, so it'll tell me I can't. I'll exit replay mode, and then I'll add my alert, and we'll see where we're at. Add my alert, go over to message, 15-minute demand, CL. And now, once, let's say it's the middle of the night, let's say it's 2 in the afternoon, let's say I'm not even looking at crude, I'm looking at gold, and it's 9:30. If gold or oil, oil in this case, hits my area of entry, I'm going to get an alert on my phone, I'm going to get an alert on my screen, and I'm going to know, okay, this is my area to enter right now. I'm getting an alert, crude oil's near my area, that's what I want to wait on. And with supply and demand, it does force us to be very patient, but it also forces us to wait till we have those A+ setups. Let's see. So we had our 15-minute demand. We continued higher from there. We had gold, which was also pushing lower today. ES and NQ were very range bound today. And something I noticed with that and that I mentioned to the community was to be careful trading it because we have a supply zone, and I'll remove our volume profile for now. But we have our supply zone. And we have our support zone. So we had support and supply very close together. So we had our resistance at 60.56. We had our support at 60.40. Every time we tried to sell off, buyers were able to bring us higher. Every time buyers tried to bring us higher, what happened? We sold back off. We were in resistance. We're in support. Price is squeezing. When price squeezes, it chops, and that is not the prices and ranges we want to trade. Once we start seeing something like this happen, we want to stay completely out of the market. We want to wait till something further develops to give us a sign. Let me pull up our trading view chart a little bit larger here so we get book map on out of there. But this is what I'd be looking for on ES right now. Now, I did want to mention also that on the daily time frame, and now guys, quick little shout out to the Benzinga Instagram. Now, I post pretty periodically, 3 to 4 or 5 times a week on Benzinga's Instagram, sort of giving you guys an analysis of what's going on in the economy, whether it's a CPI breakdown, inflation, PPI, manufacturing, whatever the case may be. Now, on May 5th, I posted a video and I titled it, "Is Now the Time to Buy?" Right? And that was May 5th right here. Since then, the ES has been able to move up over 7%, and the NASDAQ has been able to move up over 10%. So I want you guys to make sure you're following us on Instagram. It's Benzinga. And you can also follow my personal is Trading with Kev. That should also be right up over here. You guys can follow me on Instagram. Try to make sure you guys are most informed on what's going on in the economy. It's important that as day traders, we have our price levels, we have our analysis, but we also know what's going on in the background. If we don't know what's going on in the background, then we might be sustained or we might be opened to getting wicked out of a lot of trades. If we know that Besant is talking today, then guess what? At 10 o'clock, when I know he's speaking, I'm going to be out of all of my trades. And that gives me an advantage. That gives me an edge in the market. Guys, do you want to go over? I'm curious, guys. Do you want to do some technical analysis? We could cover crude oil and we could cover gold. Or do you guys want to cover some more of what is Apex Trader funding? I do have some great slides to put together for us. Oh, actually. I don't, because it's making me sign in. So it looks like we're going to be chilling with some technical analysis today, guys. So we could always break it down from the daily time frame and work our way lower, right? So every morning I do our pre-market prep, 8:30 to 9:30, mark out that previous day high and previous day low. Once I have those marked out, what I also like to do is I like to mark out our opening price. Now, this is a big help, and this could help you at home as well. If you mark out the opening price on the daily candle, you could sort of gauge if we're bullish or bearish based off the fact if we're above or below this price level. If you see that we're actively trading against or away from this level to the upside, then we know that we're bullish, we're above our open, we're on a green day today. If we're below our open price, I see that we might be bearish, we might continue lower, whatever the case may be. Now, I also like to use our open and close price to give me an idea. Now, let's say, just for an example, I was bearish on gold today, and I wanted to see if I could get a short position above our previous day high, and I wanted to see if gold could close red today. I could then take my short position in the supply zone that we had, and I could use that open price as a potential price target right over here. Now, that price target hasn't hit because we had some support right above it, and that's why support, resistance, supply and demand, and key levels like previous day high and low are all so important. These are major areas of support and resistance on higher time frames. This is institutional price analysis, along with looking to see if we have continuation or trend or not. Now, something I wanted to mention on oil, I mentioned earlier how excited I am to trade oil again, and the reason for that is because oil's finally gotten out of its, in my opinion, horrendous range from early April to about late May, early June. We were between about 64 to about 57 on oil for a long time, right? And this was because of the tariff uncertainty, very worried about what was going on. We weren't too sure. The US gets 50% or more of our inventory of crude oil from Canada. So because we had all of those tariff uncertainties and worries and more tariffs on Canada, crude oil was crashing. It was very difficult to trade. It didn't know if it was going up or down. At this point, this was our support area. This is why I'm excited, guys. This support area, since we've been above it for the past 2 years almost, I've been loving crude oil's price action as one of the markets I love to trade. Since it had this crash down here, I felt like the price action has been extremely inconsistent, giving me very low probability setups continuously. So I stayed out of it, and I mainly traded gold, ES, and NQ. And that's the benefit of being able to trade futures and being able to trade different indexes and different futures, because it gives you the ability to look at different markets, because different markets are going to have different market conditions, right? Gold isn't going to inverse the ES and NQ, but it could have a bullish day while ES and NQ has a bearish day. It might not inverse them, but it could have a strong day while ES and NQ are choppy. A lot of times I recognize poor price action and volume on ES and NQ sometimes will reflect on stronger price action on things like crude and gold. And a crazy theory I'll hold on to, as EVs sell production than hybrids and combustion engines that use catalytic converters. All right, let's take a look. So oil is back above this range, but I would like to see us continue higher. We're currently trading at 66.68. This is a huge move up on oil. We could break it down to a lower time frame as well and see where we're currently trading at. And we see that we have all this demand, right? So now we can start to break some of these old supply zones. They're no longer relevant. They no longer have any interest to us. And what we're doing at that point is we're sort of cleaning up our charts to say, hey, guess what? This isn't relevant. I don't want to find it. I don't want to watch it. Once we start deleting old zones that don't have any value to us, then we're able to see things a lot more clearly. And once we can see things clearly in the market, guys, our goal as traders isn't to overcomplicate things. It's the opposite. It's to simplify our trading so that we're able to have our system and our journal and our journey all in sync and continuously improving. Whether you're 1 day into trading, 1 year into trading, 10 years into trading, our goal is to remain consistent. Profitable, of course, is the key, but don't worry about profitability at first. Guys, if you're getting started with Apex, you're getting started with a prop firm, you're getting started with trading in general, don't worry so much about making money. The making money aspect will come once you find a setup and system that works for you. Your main priority in trading when you get started in a beginner phase or when you're not at that profitability yet is to minimize your risks. Your goal as a trader should no longer be, I need to make money as a new trader. Your goal as a trader, new trader, should be, I need to not lose money. I need to manage my risks. I need to make sure I don't lose if we're on an Apex account. So let's bring up some Apex accounts. Bring up apextraderfunding.com, Apex Trader Funding. And we could take a look. They have 80% off right now, like we mentioned. And we see that they have there, we'll go to the Trade08 accounts, 50K, 100K, 150K. So let's say you're trading a 50K account, profit goal is $3,000, your trail stop's 2,500. You don't want to be stressing so much when you take a losing trade, right? So let's be patient. Let's manage our risk, manage our size, and say, okay, well, if my trail stop's 2,500, I know me personally, I don't really want to see a red day of more than 400, 500, right? Because that would be a bigger red day. Take a few of those to knock me out. So I'd maybe risk $150 to $250 per that account. 150K accounts get a little more tough because your trail stop is 5,000, profit target is 9,000. But again, you're able to risk a little more. So you could maybe go to $500 risk per trade, $400 risk per trade. And again, you would need 10 wrong trades in a row to blow that account. That's okay. Give yourself that ability to have cushion so you could test your trading and trade without any type of emotional distress saying, oh man, I got a pit in my stomach. I should exit this trade right now. It's not at my stop loss. It's not at my take profit, but I don't want to hold. That is not a reason to exit a position. The reason we enter a position should be only because of one reason, and that's because it meets our criteria. Our criteria should fall under an umbrella of things, right? A slew of things. Are we breaking a previous day high? Have we been trending the past few days? Breaking previous day low if we're bearish? Are we range bound, right? Am I looking for a range trade where, hey, you know what? Maybe instead of looking for a long position in demand, I'll look for us to sweep a low and then take that long position after we sweep a low, right? Knowing your setup, knowing your strategy in the market environment is a major benefit to give us an edge. What are the deposits and withdrawal options for traders outside of the US? That's a great question. If you guys want to give me half a second here, I could quickly pull up and we'll take a look to see. So guys, here's crude oil, and if anything, we'll pull up oil for a second here on the 5. And I just want to see if I can get us over into those slides for us. So here comes ES. We could take a look at ES because it's range bound right now. And average options, I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get that answer to you in just a moment. Just one half of a moment. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to get those slides over. We're going to go over different Apex Trader Funding rules. We're going to go over different Apex Trader Funding payout withdrawals, how you get your payouts, how much you could get paid out per account, how many accounts you could trade, and so much more. So here we have our slides, and this is from a Apex Trader Funding webinar that I hosted a couple weeks ago. So I have some easy slides. What are futures? How do they move? What are some futures markets hours? But you asked what is the withdrawal process for people not in the US? I'm pretty sure it was Rise at some point. Here we go. For non-US international, they use Plane, Plane. So right now for US, they use direct deposit, ACH, and for non-US traders, they use Plane. So again, they give you options. You do not have to be US based to use Apex Trader Funding. Some payout requirements. You do have to have 8 trading days. Now, you must complete 8 trading days in total. That does not mean 8 in a row. That means you could trade maybe 3 in a row here, take 2 days off, another 3, take a day off, trade another 2. As long as you hit your 8 trading days, you cannot request a payout at 7 trading days. Profit on 5 of those trading days. At least 5 of those 8 trading days must show a profit of $50 or more. Now, again, because of the whole percent rule, because we're looking for consistency, you really don't have to worry too much about this rule because you should be profitable on 5 of those 8 days anyways to get yourself to that payout. Safety net for the first 3 payouts. The safety net is calculated as your drawdown limit plus $100. This requirement applies to your first 3 payouts. For more information on that, Apex Trader Funding does have a FAQ section that you guys could check out as well, frequently asked questions. And profit split is 100% of the first 25K and a 90-10 after that. Your account must meet the required minimum balance to approve a payout. Now, your account minimum balance, I'm going to show you guys, we have that over here. Let's see, minimum required balance. So your 25K account, to take out the minimum of $500, you need to have your 25K account hit $26,600. That means you only have to profit $1,600 on a 25K account to withdraw $500. Might sound like, oh, I got to make $1,600 and all I get is $500. But let's break it down to some other accounts. On the 50K account, you need to make $2,600 to withdraw just $500. 75K, they no longer have a 75K, so I'll remove that. 100K account, you need to make $3,100 to remove $500. So if you're really getting started, you're just looking for a starter payout. Maybe you want to get a payout of $500 on a 25K account and then use some of that $500 to get a 50K account, right? Give yourself motivation and give yourself goals, reachable goals, and that will help motivate you and keep you on track, and it will keep you away from FOMO and trying to maximize everything. So maximum payouts per account size is another big one. So 25K account, maximum payout is $1,500. Now the minimum is $500. You can't take out less than 5. Maximum is $1,500 for the 25K account, $2,000 for the 50K account. Again, there's no 75K anymore. 100K account is $2,500. 150 is $2,750, and so on. $3,000 for 250K, and $300,000 account is $3,500. Now, this is sort of where I mention account size and being reasonable, right? If you're looking for a payout, I'd really recommend going with maybe 150K and less. And the reason I mention that is because the 50K account to max you get withdrawals 2,000, right? It really doesn't get much more than that. You get maybe 500 more on the 100K account. You only get 750 more on the 150K account, and that's still doubling and tripling your profit target now. So you have to do more work. You have to take more trades to get just $750 more dollars. Whereas if you stay on a 50K account, you grow your cushion, you remain consistent. Let's say you're averaging $500 a day, $600 a day. Once you get to that 6th payout, you're able to withdraw your whole total profits from the account. So there's no longer a maximum payout. If you're in a 50K account and you're growing, it's at 70K, it's at 75K, it's at 80K, you're on payout number 4, you could still only take out 2,000. Once you hit payout number 5, 2,000, payout number 6, if you have that big cushion of $35,000, you could take out, say, 30 and leave $5,000 of cushion for yourself. But that's still able to take out $30,000 of profit without putting any of your own financials at risk. And that's what's huge about prop firms, guys. So I always recommend people get started with something like Apex Trader Funding. And once you stay consistent and you prove to yourself that you are a consistent trader, maybe you're seeing some payouts and whatnot, you could trade up to 20 accounts. You could copy those accounts as well. There are different tools and systems you could use for copy accounts. And they do have separate payouts. So each account operates independently. So you could take out $2,000 from a 50K account 20 times. $2,000 times 20, we're looking at, what's that, $40,000 on just one of those payouts against 20 accounts. That is, for most people, a life-changing amount of money to begin with. right? Just to start. And that would be if we're remaining consistent and profitable. Example scenario, if you have 10 50K accounts, you could withdraw 2,000 from each account after 8 trading days for a total of $20,000 across those accounts. Again, guys, this is something that no other prop firms are really giving us the benefit of trading up to 20, let alone 10 valuation or funded accounts. If you repeat this process over 16 trading days with just 10 accounts, there's your 40,000. Boosted earnings power using multiple accounts lets you maximize payouts. Now, something I do want to mention with using multiple accounts too, guys, or even if you want to buy 2 or 3 accounts to get started, maybe don't copy them, right? If you're getting started, maybe give yourself, let's say you're on 2 funded accounts, 50K each. You hit your daily goal on one of them, you hit $800 or whatever your daily goal, 1,000, whatever the case may be, hit your daily goal, but you see another great setup, another great opportunity. Well, your rules say you hit your daily goal, you're not allowed to take another trade, but you have another account that you haven't taken any trades on. You manage your risk properly, you move on, you move forward, right? You take that trade on your next account and you continue. This is something that you could also do if you want to trade a setup number 1 on account number 1, setup number 2 on account number 2, or if you want to just trade gold on account number 2 and just ES on account number 1. There's so many different ways to use multiple accounts on Apex to help us psychologically so that we could move forward and do better with our trading. Guys, make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe. I do appreciate all the support, and we'll get the ball rolling. We got some good stuff, some tips for each account size. We covered that before. Some common questions people do tend to ask about Apex Trader funding. Do I have to trade 8 days in a row? As we mentioned, no. You just need to have 8 total trading days. When do I qualify for 100% payouts? That's after your 5th payout is approved, so payout number 6. How long do I have to pass an evaluation? This is a huge question, guys. Now, Apex is currently running their 80% off sale, and along with that, they also have a sale where it's 1 day to get funded. So if you get a 50K account, you make $3,000 in a day, they fund that you could get funded in just 1 day. Usually they want you to trade the 5 or 8 days and then you get funded. They have 1 day to get funded. That does not mean you have to get funded in 1 day, guys. That just means you have the opportunity to, but you could take as long as you want. There is no time limit. Apex Trader funding, the evaluation accounts, even the funded accounts are billed on a monthly basis. So if you're on an eval, it's going to be billed on a monthly. Once you pass the eval, you get the option to get a performance account that's a PA account, and you could choose if you want it to be a monthly fee or a lifetime fee. Usually the lifetime fee is a little extra, but you no longer have any more recurring fees with them, and you're, again, able to take payouts. Is there a daily loss limit? Some prop firms have daily loss limits, some being half of what their trail stop is. That could be helpful, but it could also be against us. There is no daily loss limit, but you do have to follow the 30% rule. So again, Apex sort of giving us the ability to trade a little freely, but giving us the rules and structure to be consistent. Do commissions count towards trailing thresholds? Guys, of course commissions count. Commissions factor in towards our P&L and drawdown, so of course it's going to factor into our Apex, into our trailing threshold. But if we're trading futures, and especially ESNQ, we're usually not trading an enormous amount of contracts where we're feeling that amount of commission. If you're maybe trading 30 micros per trade, yeah, you might feel a little commission on that. But other than that, it should be all right. Can I hold trades overnight or over the weekend? The answer to that is no. Apex requires us to be out of all positions when the futures market opens. So the New York session closes at 4 p.m. Eastern, but the futures market closes at 5 p.m. Eastern. So futures are open 23 hours a day, except between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Now, on Fridays, they close at 5 p.m. and they don't open back up until Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern. Now, on the flip side of that, if it's a futures day and markets open up at 6 p.m. Eastern and you see a long position at 7 p.m., you could realistically hold it overnight until we get that open the next day, right? So you hold it overnight. 8 o'clock comes, markets have been open because it's futures markets. You could hold it technically overnight, just not through futures close to open. And what are the when are the payouts processed? Requests are reviewed once they're submitted. There is no longer a payout window. Apex used to have a payout window where you would have to wait for the 1st through the 5th or the 15th through the 20th. That was the only time people were able to request payouts. Now they got rid of that payout window. So once you hit that 8th trading day and it processes, the market's closed, it processes through, you're able to submit your payout. So they really upgraded since they came out. Really love to see companies like Apex expanding. Yeah, I believe so. What's going on, Mabu? Yeah, I think some traders do use Apex Trader funding in South Africa. I believe so. They are nationwide. They use Plain for deposits for non-US residents. Guys, this is my community. If you do want to join, it's bullishbears.com. I go live Monday through Friday for them, do some live sessions, do some live streams, live trading every day, Monday through Friday. Also do some mentorships as well. See if we have any other slides as well we could cover on Apex Trader funding. Here is, let's see, where was it? So the 30% rule. This is a major one I wanted to cover. I think we covered it briefly before, but a lot of people get worried. They hear 30% rule and they think Apex doesn't let us trade. That's completely wrong, guys. The 30% rule is Apex's way of being your coach, of being your mentor, of saying, hey, listen, don't risk more than 30% on this. Don't lose more than 30% on this. When your coach or your mentor tells you that, you better be risking less than 15%. Because if you're playing with 30% and you're going, oh, well, I'll play a little close, that's not the best idea. We know that there's slippage in the market. We also know that there's emotions that play into it. We don't really want to be an emotional trader. We did cover this slide earlier, so I won't cover it again for you guys. Now, something I will mention is if you do go over the 30% rule by 2 or 3%, they're not going to completely deny you. They're not going to flag it immediately. They give you the opportunity to try to fix it. So if you make a little too much money, as funny as that sounds, maybe take an extra trade, lose $50 here or whatever. But again, 30% rule, guys, that is from your total P&L. So that is not just day to day. Yes, it matters which day and how much you make every day. But if you're able to stay consistent, I know this says, let's see. So on a 50K account, if the profit balance is 4,000, a trader should not allow a drawdown of 1,200. That also means a trader should not make more than 1,200. If you make 1,400 this day, guess what? That brings your total P&L to 5,400. And now it's increasing your 30% rule. So guys, 30% rule is growing with our accounts as long as we remain consistent. And that's our number one key when it comes to trading. Remain consistent, show up every day, and make sure that we're looking for the same setup, the same strategies, and the same situations, right? We want to make sure the market can repeat itself. Whatever our setup is has to be repeated. 30% rule, don't take advantage. Occasionally breaching 30% limit won't lead to immediate penalties like account failure or payout denial. However, frequent violations, guys, if you're hitting 40%, 50%, 60%, they will flag it. They want you to show consistency. If your open P&L exceeds 30% occasionally, but you quickly correct it, no penalties will be imposed. I can't stress enough, guys, and where is it? I'll find the example slide. How great it is for the 30% rule. I think, personally, my opinion, the 30% rule should motivate us to make more and be more consistent. Because if we're looking at $2,000 of profit, and again, this says 150K as the example, this could be a 50K account. 50K account, $2,000 in profit off the bat. Guess what? That's exceeding. But if you make $2,000 in a day and you do your percentage and you do the math and you see that your total P&L once you request that payout after 8 trading days should be of at least 6,667. Okay, that's great. I'm already 2,000 close to that. I only have 4,600 to go. I could do another day where I make 2,000, 1,500, 1,000, or maybe do a few days where I do 1,000 each. Again, if you do 5 days where you do 1,000, one day where you do that 2,000, and that 2,000 was a little earlier, which exceeded the 30%, we're able to adjust. The accounts will fix itself and they will measure. And again, it's really just about consistency. This is fantastic. Apex, probably one of the top prop firms. I always recommend. It's a great place to get started. They are much cheaper, on the cheaper end when they have their sales. They're currently having that 80% sale off of all evaluation accounts. They also have their sale on their funded accounts as well. All right, so guys, that's about it. They do offer, real quick, they do offer news trading. Now, a lot of traders were under the impression that Apex doesn't let us trade into news. News can be anything. FOMC, maybe we have CPI, PPI, non-farm payroll. Whatever the economic calendar is showing, we are able to trade that on Apex. But we have to, as traders, be a little reasonable with ourselves and know, okay, we have a news event right now that could get very volatile. If I'm in a trade and we have a news event and I'm expecting us to go higher and we drop 50 points on the ES, that's going to liquidate you. You're going to get stopped out. You're going to blow the account. It's not the process. It's not what we're looking for. They do let us trade just directionally. They don't let us hedge. They don't let us be in a long position on one account, a short position on the other account. They also won't let you be, let's say you're long on an NQ, but then you're short on 10 MNQs. They do not allow that. That is called straddling. That's when you're long and short at the same time. And what you do is you cut the loser and you let the winner run. Not what Apex is looking for, guys. And you shouldn't be looking to trade like that either, because how repeatable is that process? It's not. We want to look for processes that are repeatable in the market that we can look for day in and day out. Trailing threshold. The initial trailing threshold is used to calculate the risk limit, regardless of whether the threshold has been adjusted. Even if your trailing threshold decreases, your risk limit still references the original starting amount until you exit the safety net. Sorry, guys, reading a comment up on there. So example of a 50K account, if you accumulate 2,600 in profit and pass the safety net, your risk is calculated based on 30% of that 2,600. If your profits increase to 5,200, your drawdown allowance increases to 50%. So again, we're going from 30% risk, we're doubling our accounts, and now we're also almost doubling our risk drawdown. Before, our total profit was just 2,600. Now our total profit's 52 and our max drawdown is 26. That was our full profit before. So that's where Apex also opens up and allows traders who have shown consistency to remain consistent and start to grow, right? Apex is all about having traders grow as traders, right? They're not here to try to bat us down. They're not here to give us hard rules that we can't break through. They're here to see that we're consistent traders and we could pass and get funded. Because guess what? Apex, they're copying some of their best traders. They want to see if you qualify to be one of their best. Don't forget, guys, there's a form in the comments. I'll have the producer post it one more time in the comments so it's a little more recent. But fill that out for a chance to win a free Apex Trader evaluation account. Give those out once a week here on Benzinga on Futures Fever. They also do giveaways of Apex accounts on the Trader Bacon Show. That's on Mondays at 11. So tons of giveaways, tons of great stuff. Really hope you all enjoyed today's show. Some more rules that you do have to follow. DCA is allowed. Do apologize. DCA is allowed. Flipping is also allowed. Opening and closing positions and trades quickly to count as a trading day is permitted, as long as you hit that $50 minimum profit for 5 days. And other than that, trade half contracts until trailing stop is achieved. That would mean this one you don't really have to worry about, guys, because when they say half contracts, if we're on a 50K account, your max contracts you could trade is 10 minis. That would be 10. No, Michael, not still in school. I know I got the baby face to me, but 26 going on 27, got 6 years of financial education behind me. So got a lot going on. But so 50K account, they give you 10 minis to trade. That would be 10 full ES contracts. That's $500 for one single point. We are never trading 10 of those contracts. We're not even going to be trading 5 of those contracts at one time. So with that being said, we don't really have to worry about trade half contracts until trailing stop is achieved. So that's okay. That's a rule we don't really have to worry too much about. Now, maintain a 1 to 5 risk to reward, not 5 to 1 where you're making 5 and risking 1, but 1 to 5 where you're risking 5 and only making 1. So again, this is a rule that Apex has that we don't necessarily need to follow to a T. And the reason for that is because well, guess what? We're not really risking $500 to make 100, or else we need like a 95% or 99% win rate to stay profitable. Probably 95, maybe even 90. But my point being, having or needing a high win rate like that causes a lot of angst, stress, anxiety, and worry as a trader. And when we get emotions like that, we start trading poorly because we trade emotionally. We should never trade emotionally. We want to trade thoughtfully. We want to put thought process behind it. We want to make sure we're reading markets, reading news, reading economics, and really seeing what's going on. So guys, I do hope you enjoyed today's show. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Join me live here every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. for Futures Fever. You guys can check me out. Join me at bullishbears.com to join me every Monday through Friday for live trading. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week.